back to the Back Then When podcast. I'm Clay, where we bridge eras, preserve culture, and build legacy. Today we got a special guest with us, Matt. I let Mustafa, who brought him in.
Yes, sir. My guy Matt. First of all, I haven't seen Matt since I was 16. So that's the good thing about Facebook, IG. You keep in touch with people you haven't seen in so long. But me and Matt have kept our relationship this strong for this many years. And I mean, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. I can't remember all the details of how me and Matt actually met at first. I know it was a situation with a girl back in the day, which was a lot. That happened a lot, during those times. And I said, I found out who Matt was, and I said, this white boy must be fucking crazy if he think he gonna come at me about some girl, right? So, that just didn't happen back when we was growing up. And, I asked around because I had heard something. I said, this can't be true. So I asked around, I asked some folks, and people was like, man, Matt, that's Matt be with Fray? Michael Fray, and, Poochie. And Matt actually was very tight with a crew I went to junior high school with, my crew. My actual tight-knit crew was Piggy, a guy named Piggy, and Rudy. And that was and Poochie. I used to look up to Poochie, so that was one of Matt's, road dogs. So I mean, it jail. We got over our little spat, and then we've been friends ever since. And Matt is a unique person. That's one of the reasons I had started my platform, DC Decades, to show how diverse and multidimensional the District of Columbia is. We were built on relationships. And it was about people respecting each other. And if, you get into something, I mean, it's a fight, whatever, it's over, it's squashed. And, that's how it was. So Matt, is such a well-rounded dude. I mean, from the streets of, from the tale of two cities. I mean, from being in the streets with Fray and our DC basketball legends, a whole bunch of people, up to the corporate world. I mean, this guy worked for Kathy Hughes back in the day with WOL. So I just want to, thank you, Matt, for coming and gracing us with your presence. And I just want you to tell people how where you grew up at.
Well, thank you. Again, you're like a brother to me. I'm glad we finally reconnected, got to see each other. It's had to have been close to probably 30 years now. We've seen each other face to face. So I grew up in Bowie, Maryland, middle class, suburban, life, spoiled brat back in the day, got anything I wanted. But that's not enough for me.
That's right.
My introduction to Washington, D.C. started when I was in the 11th grade. I met a guy named Roland Waters, Ro, as we call him. The minute we met, we were best friends. And I would take him to the parties out there in the suburbs where, white people thing, drink beer, get in fights, flirt with girls, get in fights, and it's over with. And Ro would always try to get me to go into Washington, D.C. with him. And he said to me one day, he goes, hey, my sister's dating a hustler. And, I'm 16 years old. I go, he's a smut pusher like Larry Flint? The only thing I thought a hustler was Hustler Magazine. I didn't know what it was. And he's got these Fila suits for me. So... And me and Ro, every Saturday, would go to the Nike store in Georgetown when it was there. And one day we're coming back from there. It might have been the day we got the Jordans, when the Jordans were released. We were the first two people to have them in Bowie High School. I'll never forget that day either. Everyone just looking down at my feet. I had the black and red ones, and the rest was history.
What year was that, man?
85.
Okay.
1985.
Okay. That's the year right there.
Yeah. When the Jordan came out, because the Air Force One was discontinued.
Yeah.
And we're coming back, from Georgetown back, into Maryland, Landover, then to Bowie. And as we're coming through D.C., we stopped at that little Amoco station that was just above the strip joints right there. And we're just getting gas. And this car just pulls up. And he goes, hey, that's Mike right there. And he goes, hey. And next thing you know, Fray gets out the car, pops the trunk, and just gives Ro like 30 Fila sweatsuits. He goes, oh, I was heading over to your house with him anyways.
Wow.
So that was my first introduction to meeting Fray. But I never call him Fray. I call him Mike.
Yeah.
I've always called him Mike. He's always Mike to me.
Wow.
And just build a relationship just at that point. As I've told Mustafa before, you know, I was around Len Wallace, I was around Zoe, I was around Dikembe, all the Georgetown guys. Right. And Fray held more sway, celebrity as a street figure than these guys as athletes. I mean, being seen with Fray walking into a place or just hanging out with Fray, you had a lot more clout there than you did hanging out with the, you know, the guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So you're talking DC, you're talking mid 80s. Like what?
1985, I'd say.
Okay, 85. And what was it? Describe what the city was like then. Especially coming from Maryland, coming from Bowie, and it was such a different culture from the suburbs to the city.
You know, I hadn't been around a black person majority like that ever until I came to DC, but I'm always somebody that was always comfortable doing something, being around somebody. I don't judge anybody, you know, by the color of their skin, their gender, whatever. Hey, if you're cool with me, you know, respect. I don't care what you do.
But let me interrupt you. Don't lose your thought. Matt was crazy. When I first met him, it just it's whatever. You know, but you know, it was about fighting back then. It was about, you know, we wasn't picking up the tools. It was just all about fighting. So this motherfucker here, I mean, just gonna go. So that's why I took him in like I did. I was like, oh, this my dude right here. And it's been like that ever since.
Yeah. But you know, just seeing the city, I got comfortable. You know, going to the Go-Go's.
What was your first one?
First Go-Go ever was the boat cruise that Chuck Brown played up the Potomac River and back.
Make it out of it.
Yeah.
You remember the name of the boat?
Spirit
Was that
of
the Spirit of Washington?
No, it wasn't the one. This one went all the way up Alexandria and back. And I'll never forget when me and Ro pulled up. His sisters are there. Their cousin Teeny, Karen, and Kim. God bless them. They're my sisters. Miss Waters, everyone. They're all there. So me and Ro pull up, and you know, Mike's got his AMG Mercedes, everything. And at the time, Umi had that white MCM Mercedes. That was sick. That was
Ghost.
sick.
Yeah,
the Ghost. That's the original Ghost.
And he let us sit in the car. You know, we're young guys. We're, you know, 16, 17. I got a fake ID, so I'm drinking beer, so I'm having fun. And we get on there, we're having fun, and I'm at the bow of the boat, you know, talking with Teeny, and I turn around and there's like 3 girls looking at me. I go, what the fuck's this? It was Mimi, Puffy, and Tracy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, true story. And they had to tell me who they were.
Right.
More power to
You got to put right in.
Oh,
right
man.
in next. You know what I
man.
mean? There wasn't no turning back after that.
And I was like, more power to them. But, you know, it was hilarious because if you look at that era, they were every bit a part of that era as any street guy was.
Yeah, they was. They was everywhere. Yeah. Remember that?
It was funny.
So, Matt, this time, now when did you start your career at WOL? Was it at the same time? Were you in the mix like?
No, I started. That's about
early.
That's 3 years down the road. I started at WOL in like '88.
Okay. Yeah. And your relationship with Kathy Hughes?
Well, I met Kathy through Barbara Vance because I was dating Barbara's daughter.
Okay.
At the time, Amani, and I did something for Kathy one day. Kathy needed help on something. Barbara ran a speakers bureau business. She was speaking to the University of Maryland, one of the black business like organizations there. And I gave her a ride, and she goes, "Hey, you got a really good voice for radio."
Y'all do
Sure
hear,
do.
right?
Yeah, I hear it. That's what I'm sitting there like, man, his voice.
And she
that
said,
voice.
"Why don't you try to sell some advertising for me?" And I was like, "Sure." So I tried it for a couple of weeks, but I wasn't a salesperson then. You know, I was, 18 years old, wild and crazy. So I kind of came under Conan, who was running her morning show at the time, and I kind of learned from that. And I kind of knew stuff was going on. I know Conan was moving up in the world, and he was probably going to end up getting the weekly 7 to 11 slot for the hip hop show. So I ended up becoming not the producer, but the engineer for the Kathy Hughes Morning Show.
That's what's up.
I would direct with her,
Wow.
Talk with her every morning. And I'll never forget, the opening song to the Kathy Hughes Morning Show was a Chuck Mangione song called Bella Via.
And he just passed, right?
Yeah,
he just passed.
Yeah, he just passed last week. And what's interesting about that is that song literally is still instilled into my head to this day. Like, struck,
That was your morning.
yeah, it was your morning, and you're waking up a whole city, and it got crazy at times.
Thing.
And,
And y'all hear the common theme here with Matt? He's messing with some girl.
Yeah.
It's like, how I'm running this dude messing with the same girl? I'm questioning her, man. You messing with this white boy? What's up?
that's funny.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
That's crazy. Matt, that's crazy.
So Matt, when did you fall in love with like the DC culture, and what do you think makes DC much different from other places that you visited?
DC has it's a little bit of a city, but it's not quite a southern city, and it's not. And I don't want to say this to be rude. It's not obnoxious like a New York or Philly. DC just had their own way of doing things. Anybody that's from DC, I mean, just the fashion, just the way you carry yourself, it's just different. And I just fell in love with the whole city. I mean, everything about it. Yeah. It was just a wonderful time, in meeting some interesting people through my journey.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Like we were talking to Clay earlier about Lefty.
Yeah.
And I would definitely want you to give absolutely.
I'm over here like, wait a minute.
Lefty Drizel?
Oh, yeah.
No,
Okay.
Lefty the punk rock.
Okay,
Legend
all right,
in
okay.
DC. So because I think Thax really wants to know, man. Give him a little information about Lefty.
So DC had a lot of different things going on, and I was all over pretty much everywhere. I'd be going to see Chuck Brown or Rare Essence, then I'd go see Bad Brains or one of the other punk rock bands at the old 930 Club, which when it was on 9th and F Street.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yeah. Old school.
I've heard the legend of Lefty, but I'd never met her. I'd seen her in passing, and I forget the guy's name. Me and him were just out shooting the shit, and we run into Burger King, and Lefty's in there. Lefty's a hulking of a woman, black girl, about 6 foot, 6'1".
She was before her time, bro.
Skit, bald head, everything. I mean, dude,
Damn.
she was knocking dudes out.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
Dude, she used to run around the 930 Club with a cue ball in her sock, just bashing people in the head.
Wow.
Yeah, she was.
Oh, she was like that.
Yeah, she was definitely a different character. And my buddy started talking to her. She was actually in a good mood. I don't know, I've never seen her in a bad mood. And she was cool. Next time I saw her was in that same Burger King about 2 weeks later. I was with Jay Bias, who was a good friend of mine, rest in peace to Jay. And she came over to me, or to Jay and me, she goes, "Are you related to Len?" Because Jay and Len looked, it was scary how much they looked alike. And Jay said yes, and she introduced herself. I'm Lefty, this, that, and the other. We get back to the University of Maryland dorm, like, hey, we met this girl that knows you. And I said, Lefty? He goes, her name's Kendall. Never called her Lefty to me. So her story, her backstory is she was adopted by German parents, and I guess they instilled the bad part of Germany in her.
He said the bad part.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And she was. I'll give you another funny story. The movie American History X is loosely based on a guy named Frank Mink. Frank does counter-violent extremism work now, and I've talked to Frank a couple times just through being at conferences and other things. And I was like, Frank, did you ever meet Lefty? He goes, man, Lefty beat the shit out of my boy. They came up to Philly that was one tough bitch. She really put a hurting on people.
Damn,
wow.
But, everyone goes through their trials and tribulations in life. I guess she hit a struggle. I guess she was trying to get her, find herself. And I heard she passed away about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, not too long ago.
Yeah.
She's from D.C.?
Yep. Well, she went to Northwestern.
Okay.
Yeah, but she hung in D.C. She was in D.C. more than anybody in
Yeah,
D.C.
Like everybody
that's
was.
right
And
there.
Yeah.
I can honestly say she was as tough and as hardcore as any street dude of that era.
Damn.
I mean, she was that scary at times.
And you, I think you mentioned before, she had something to do with the skinheads, or?
Yeah, she ran the skinhead movement. This is
Crazy.
a black
Skinhead
woman with tattoos, swastikas on her,
Jeez.
everything. She was nuts. And I heard as of recently, well, she passed, but up until that, she would lead like racist chants at DC United games.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's very interesting, interesting story with Lefty. Well, probably the most interesting character I've ever met, because you don't expect to see someone like her promoting what she's promoting.
Right.
It was
Especially if you saw what she looked like.
Yeah.
Like you,
Oh, really?
you know,
Yeah.
like it just catch you off guard.
I know dudes that were in that punk rock scene, like my buddy Lance. He goes, I always tried to stay away from her because I was always scared she was going to make me fuck her.
Oh, wow.
No lie.
Make them.
Yeah,
Yeah, you heard that? Make them.
She was one of those types. When I gave you that information on Lefty, did you see that one comment where that girl goes, I thought she was going to make me go down on her.
Yeah,
She goes,
Like, it's real.
She was like, she was Debo, a skinhead Debo.
That's
A female skinhead
crazy
Debo.
tandem there.
Yeah, it sure is.
A skinhead.
Like Baby
Debo.
D from
Yeah, little
Friday.
baby,
Stay out of her way, man.
Yeah, baby
Stay
D.
away from her.
You know what, Matt? I'm just thinking back in those days, and I think I can remember you walking around in the Go-Go's with Ro. Because I remember Ro. He's younger than me, but I remember Ro. You know what I mean? I know Ro. I know his sisters, of course, but I'm just laughing because I think I can remember you from back then. If I see a picture, I'll guarantee it, but I can almost remember Ro because he used to be a white dude. I remember that.
Oh, that was
I can remember that. And I remember being at Rhythms one night. You ever been to Rhythms?
Where is that?
That's on Landover Road.
It's cold, man. It's
Man, I'm telling you,
that's
man.
many moons ago.
And that's the
I'm
last
telling
time I saw Ro, for real. Yeah. That's the last time.
He had that infamous red Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Back then.
Oh, yeah, the
Oh,
two-door.
he was the only one I knew with the red Pathfinder. You know, we-
Essie.
What was it, Matt? Was it Essie?
I have no idea.
Everybody knew that red Pathfinder. That was Matt.
I remember them Pathfinders, too.
Yeah, the good old red Pathfinder got totaled in Atlantic City.
Damn.
That's what happened to it.
Yep.
Your fault.
No, I had nothing to do with it. I wasn't even driving. And I'll tell you guys the story here. It's going to be kind of crazy. So Mike had a friend of his that was in town, and I became friendly with, just talking to him. He was from Texas. We called him California. I'm not going to say his other name, but we just called him California. He was from Houston, Texas. So I go up to the Tyson Spinks fight, and we're sitting there, we're gambling. I'm sitting there. Tommy Hearns is literally like from me to you, like at the bar and stuff.
Yeah.
These dudes from Miami, they got these, man, iced out Mercedes that I've never seen. Oprah's walking by, Trump's walking around, in the whole that Trump Tower thing. And Kevin calls me and goes, hey, can you pick my guys up at the airport? I go, sure, no problem. So, because Atlantic City to Philadelphia is like a 40-minute drive.
Right.
Pick them up. California gets in there, gets two other dudes in the car. And one dude's a little short dude, kind of an attitude, but cool. He goes, here, put this in. It's the Ghetto Boys before they ever came out.
Wow.
Before they ever came out. It's Jay Prince in that red Pathfinder.
That's
Wow.
Jay
Okay?
Prince.
Yeah, Jay Prince, true story.
Yeah.
And I get back to the hotel. I wanted to get in the shower. I wanted to go gamble. I wanted to go have fun. And I said to Sean, who used to live across the street from Fat Rodney, I was like, Sean, take them over to Popeyes, get them something to eat. Sean goes, okay, I should have been smarter. I was dumb. I was, 18 at the time, thinking everything. Sean totals my Pathfinder, falls asleep, runs into a house in Atlantic City with Jay Prince and a bunch of other people in it. Yeah, true story.
Yeah. So it's funny how all these things are going on, and then you got some dudes that we grew up with that just never been off the block.
Of course.
They think they know everything now. I'm noticing, a lot of guys that are just getting a life showing up on social media, and they trying to tell you things. They know all this stuff, and the stuff that they didn't heard when we was actually really outside, at this
Doing
time.
it.
You know what I'm saying? So it's funny to me because I'm like, it's so refreshing because to me this shows how DC still could be. I don't think we just didn't pass this down you know, as far as how important relationships are, because you never know when you're gonna need somebody.
Right.
You know, and let's say Matt, he hung out with all these guys, you know what I mean, and he gets to this place, and he's the one white guy you notice up at this place. He might be able to, hey, I got you, brother. You know what I'm saying? Because he understands us. You know what I'm saying? He's one of us.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? So it's like and that's how DC used to be. And it's sad because now we're like dealing with everybody looking out for themselves.
Yeah.
You know,
So let me ask you a question, Matt. Do you have you got a game? Can you play ball?
I was more of a wrestler than I was a basketball player, but I
Okay.
was around all the guys. I mean, like I said, being around Roe, Jay, I mean, Venable, Henry Hall. I mean, dude, those guys.
Herbo days.
Yeah, the Herbo. We used to go to the Herbo days and watch that stuff. You know, you'd see
Man,
everyone.
what? The pop, still remember the popcorn slam? They had the best
Run it out
popcorn ever.
there.
I still
Yes.
ain't. Look, listen.
Yeah, had popcorn.
Woolworth.
Yeah.
I think it was Woolworth. It
They
was
had
a close
popcorn.
second.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had
But that
really
popcorn
good.
at Dunbar, at the Herbo.
Man, those were the days. Mutto in Baltimore, D.C.,
no
Baltimore.
It was like 25 cents for the little.
Man, it slept.
Yeah.
I'd sneak beers in and stuff. in there.
Oh, you get away with
yeah,
stuff.
I'd do all sorts of stuff. And do you remember a couple years back, there was that documentary called In the Water about PG County?
Yeah,
on-
I remember that.
And, you know, no disrespect to any of those guys. They're NBA legends. Curtis Malone, great
Q.
man. Great man.
What's his name with the DeMath? We went to see him the other day. He was playing against
He was up
Baltimore.
there.
I mean,
He was up
DC,
Coolidge.
Philly.
He was up Coolidge.
Went to Duke.
Yeah,
he was on there.
His name.
But when I think of area basketball, the Mecca was Columbia Park. That was Len. That was Brian Ice Waller, Henry Hall, Venable, everyone. I remember the first time I saw these guys play, we rolled up there, and, you know, Roe was a decent player, and I watched Henry. I mean, this guy was lights out. The best pure shooter I've ever seen in my life. I mean, Henry was just, I mean, that name Radar, that was well deserved.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just sick. And I remember Roe goes, so I think I'm as good as him. I go, no, you're not. And we just, you know, we laughed it off. But watching those guys play together, Venable as a general, and I loved it, like when Kurt Smith always says, who's the best point guard? I go, Venable over you. And he gets mad. I have to go, I love you, Kurt. You're my man. You are by far the best legend.
No disrespect.
No,
No, that's Kurt. No disrespect.
No disrespect. But no, I just, the way Venable played, I mean, he was that floor general, and these guys knew each other. I mean, literally, all you needed was Venable, Henry, Jay, and just two people to fill in, and they're going to run the game. I remember the big money games that happened between a certain Northeast guy and guys from Columbia York. Somebody put up big money, and this guy comes. He comes with Bootney, Melvin, all those guys. They could never beat the Columbia Park guys. They could never beat them.
Oh, yeah.
Because these guys always played as a team together. While these guys that were Herbo, and no disrespect to any of them, their skills, they're great.
Yeah.
But a point me is not a point guard.
Right.
Okay? You're supposed to be the general.
The
setting
floor
every-
general.
Floor general, setting
Yeah.
everything up. Not scoring 30, and then you get your 10 assists.
Now, that's
You gotta
basketball
be-
now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I can't even watch
We
the
just
NBA
we
now,
just
and
witnessed
it's
it.
getting to the point where I can't even watch college ball now.
The last
I know.
floor
It's
general was
good.
Chris
All
Paul.
that ISO ball.
We don't have
and
any.
The
One-on-one
W-
shooting.
The WNBA is actually much more
Oh, yeah,
entertaining
that's
to watch.
fundamental basketball.
Yeah. It's actual basketball. Right now, it's no different than seeing the Harlem Globetrotters in the NBA. In college is, you know, guys aren't staying in school. The imaging
It's no
thing,
because
they're
I
moving
blame
around.
I
It's-
blame the not the actual NBA. It's the players. You know, maybe it's the coaches or something. I don't know. It's how they build them up is like, oh, you gonna be the star. It's you know, versus trying to get on a team and build a dynasty. You know, and
Yeah, and
it's
for
like
me,
you.
and for me, I
versus
think
that team.
some of the shift has been because guards and small and shooting forwards and you know they haven't changed as much.
Twos and
It's
threes.
It's the big guys out shooting threes and the big guys with the finesse game.
Yeah,
You know, that's really kind of changed. Where I think when we were growing up, like you
had
wanted to
their
have
position.
a power forward
And
who
that-
was
down
muscle
low.
down there,
Down
yeah,
low.
You know,
See, I'm gonna say for the last 20 years,
And that's
it's,
evolution too.
Yeah.
You know,
to me, it's been about entertainment during the regular season. Playoffs start, we see basketball because the scores are lower. It's more half-court bump and grind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's the difference. Nowadays, though, you got to be left to right, flexible, athletic, 7 foot shooting threes. I mean, come on, look at Wembanyama.
Yeah, they've tweaked the game so much, and it seems like they've kind of tried to get closer to like the how they play ball, the world ball, like in Europe and other places.
Yeah.
It's just it's lost a lot of the the skill and the chemistry that it used to have before. So turning that into a question, like Matt, you've seen a lot of change, right? And you came into a time in DC, at least for my generation, where that was like considered like the some of the golden years as far as it being like Chocolate City.
Absolutely.
Both as Mo says, kind of tailored both cities, where you had politicians and business people doing their thing, and then you had the other economy, and people were kind of rising up in that space. And as being a white boy coming from Bowie, like what did you feel that you had to do to just be respected enough, and where people that you developed the relationships that you did?
Just be myself, be real. I mean, that's all anybody has to do in life, is just be yourself and be real, be honest, just be cool.
That's what I respect
Mind
about
your
the
business,
Fray.
and that's
I got to the point I was like, Matt, you coming to get me, bro? What we doing? It's like he was fun. He was himself.
Yeah.
Not trying to wanna be or none of that.
Yeah.
He was always himself. You know what I'm saying? And I love that too. I mean, so we used to have a ball.
It's like when I was working for Kathy at WOL. It was right on 4th and 8th Street. Some of the best days of my life were working at WOL, just being there on the corner with that window open, just seeing some of the people
I remember that.
would go by there. And a lot of times, like after the show was over, sometimes she would run from like 6 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock sometimes. And she'd be like, hey, take the car, and I'd go up to Eastern Market and get like oyster sandwiches or crab cakes or something
That
like
little
that.
spot there.
And she had the silver bolo and it had WOL on the tag.
Right.
And I remember going up there and coming back, and she had just bought WMMJ, and it was downstairs. And that was kind of like a, easy listening,
Yeah, I remember that. I remember
station.
that station.
And she goes, how come every time I get in my car after you drive it, you have these soft stations on? She goes, you'd be a good DJ downstairs. I go, no, I like that because it's not noon, okay? And I like easy listening to that. But I'm well versed. If you got in my car right now and saw my Spotify list, it'll be something from, might be some go-go in there, might be some hardcore hip-hop. There'll probably be some real, Journey, Air Supply, stuff like that. I even got classical stuff in there. I literally go through, it's just a genre of.
I've seen, I actually have a family member who played ball, I think in the 70s, Penny Green. And he has become really like a DC basketball historian. He's got a documentary for those who want to know the history of, they need to look into it. But DC has had such a strong culture around ball, and I mean, some people, they get their street cred from being a baller, and so, you hung with some cats. What were those dudes like? And let's talk a little bit about like the basketball scene coming from the 80s, the 90s, and on up.
The 80s basketball scene was interesting, of course. Being a friend of Jay's, I was there. The whole Lynn debacle, and that tragedy happened. And
So were you around the family when at the time when Lynn lost his life?
I'll never forget that night, that day. We had the NBA draft. We all went to the Cap Center, and and it blacked out. I saw Lynn literally the Sunday before he left for Boston. He was sitting on the steps. He was on there. Me and him we were all joking, and Jay was in the house. Fray ain't got out. We just went down to Georgetown and we're doing something. Then the day of the draft, it was Monday or Tuesday. I forget which day it was. And we're there. We're watching everything. And the lights go out at the Cap Center. The screen goes down. So all we saw is Brad Daugherty picked #1 by Cleveland, and then everything goes off.
86.
1986. And I'll never forget. It comes back on. Len was picked by Boston. It was me, Jay, Michelle, Miss Bias. I think Booby and Chuck were with us. Roe was definitely there. You know, we were all happy and everything. And it was a Tuesday, I believe, now that I think about it. And me and Jay just drove up to the Blair League. You know, we were, you know, but I was burnt out that day. And Jay wanted to stay up forever because he was just so excited. Yeah. And I was like, Jay, man, I promise you, man, this weekend, you know, we'll go do something, you know, we'll have fun. I'm just spent, you know, no sleep, this, that, and the other. And he was cool about it, dropped him off at his house. Remember going home, falling asleep, and about 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, my grandmother starts shaking me, going, Jay's brother had a heart attack. Jay's brother had a heart attack. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I turned on TV, and it's right there, Len Bias, dead. I was like, whoa. And called Roe, picked him up, flew over to the Bias house. And it was, you know, Jay was numb for a few days, but then it really started to hit him, and he just never got over Len passing like that. Yeah. He had a world on his shoulders. And I thought Jay was going to do well, but that whole thing was just a tragedy that never should have happened.
Yeah. I can remember that like yesterday.
And it changed. I mean, it was a dark cloud over our area, period. When I mean, we were excited about just the shoes,
right?
The high top. There was that first pair, that black and white, the Reeboks.
They're still around. Jay
the BB, yeah.
Talking about the ones Bird and all them were. The Reeboks. They was wearing cotton. Somebody else wore those Len Bias black joints. I remember they
black and white was, and then they started coming out with some other colors, you know.
Yeah.
I got a couple.
Len gave Jay a pair of those, and that year, Jay actually led Northwestern to the state championship. Had an incredible tournament, and the one thing about Jay is people didn't realize he was somebody that hadn't grown into his body yet. Like Len was a little bit of a thing.
Was thick and cut, yeah.
And like in high school when they started playing varsity, like Mike Tate was the big bruiser,
Mike
the
Tate,
small forward.
Yeah.
And I always said to Jay, I was like, Jay, you're gonna be better than him. Mike's not gonna get any bigger than he is. You got more of a wingspan, you're a better dribbler. He's just being more physical right now. And when Mike signed with Georgetown, I didn't say anything, but I kind of knew he was not gonna last there. Wow. Just by the build and how he was. And let me rewind for a second also. Like Gerard was a straight animal at
Gerard
DeMatha.
Mustaf?
At DeMatha,
I
yes.
remember.
Yeah, he was a straight animal at DeMatha. He was just
Gerard.
And
my man Tree was up cool.
Youngin.
Big youngin.
That's our big homie right there.
I'll never forget, we're in Len's room just talking, and Jay's like, man, how's Gerard's unstoppable? And Len literally said, and it wasn't a shot at Gerard as a talent, but he goes, George's not going to get any better than he is.
Yeah.
And Jay goes, why? He goes, because he doesn't have a passion for it. It's just something. And rest in peace, Gerard. That was my guy.
6'9".
But Gerard could have developed into an animal, like a power forward from hell. And his skill set was there, whereas I saw Jay's potential. I mean, had Len not died, I see Jay having a 10-year NBA career. Jay could put it down. He was so talented. And the thing is, like me and Henry Hall were talking about it not too long ago. He goes, you know, the thing with Jay is Jay was lazy. While him and Venable were in that gym, you know, open the close. They had keys to it. They could play till 3 in the morning if they wanted to at Columbia Park. Jay was out with us doing this, but Jay's talent, he could make up for it. I mean,
that's funny you said that, because I was. It's always this debate, and I'm sure you all are familiar with it. With Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan wouldn't have been Michael Jordan if Lenny would have lived.
Now, I don't know about that one.
I don't know about Lenny's work ethic, and I'm sure you could tell us. But Michael Jordan had his work ethic is like
insane.
Out of this world. Yeah. So what do you think about that, man?
I think Lenny's work ethic was right up there with it. All the great athletes get there early and they stay late. You take Jordan, Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, Kobe Bryant,
All the superstars.
all them guys. Cristiano Ronaldo, the rule is if you're ever invited over to his house, you're a teammate for lunch, don't go, because you're going to get something that's not going to have any salt or flavoring to it. The water's going to be room temperature. I mean, this guy treats his body like a palace. And he gets to the training facility at like 4 a.m. Practicing until 6. He's probably already run,
That's what I'm talking
done
about.
everything, and he'll be the last one to leave.
what I'm talking
That's
about.
what Jordan did. Len did have that work ethic, absolutely.
okay.
But to compare them to, it's really not fair in a sense. Len was a
drives
small
me
forward,
crazy.
a power player
Jordan
that had
was
a
a
beautiful
2.
jump shot.
Yeah.
Jordan was a number 2 that had a little more ball skills. Now, had Len lived and been on the Celtics with Bird probably
been
would
some hell of a
have.
games.
Bird would have stayed.
There's been some hell of a games. I know
Shit,
that
Bird
for sure.
said himself he might have retired with Len playing because he was like, man, Len was just like that.
And you think about it, if you look at it, you have that. The Celtics would have won a couple more. Jordan definitely still would have got his.
Oh,
And you can't really compare because we don't know that answer. Like one of my favorite sports writers ever was a guy named William Knack. He did Secretariat's biography. And he was talking about when, I don't know if you guys remember when Barbara the horse broke down. And people were saying, well, we would have loved to have thought he would have won the Triple Crown, but we don't know that answer.
Exactly.
Because he didn't get that chance. There's a lot of things that could be a hiccup in the way.
And you never know. I think the one thing for me that kind of highlights kind of the trajectory of their careers, like I remember seeing, because I was pretty young with even when Len was playing, so you just, and I wasn't following Mary like that, so you'd only just kind of get highlights. But the thing I remember about Jordan was, and what was that? That was Georgetown's first
1982
82.
national championship.
their
game.
national championship. And they basically were up with like seconds left.
That was Fred Brown and all that. I remember
Yeah,
Patrick
and the
Ewing was
dude
a
throws the
freshman.
ball in, and Jordan got the steal, or
No,
somebody else
Worthy.
got
Nah,
Worthy
I
got
remember
the
that.
steal.
Jordan got the
game.
jump shot.
He got
Jordan hit the jump shot to put him up 1.
Yep.
Okay.
And
Yep.
there's a couple of things because, again, I'm good friends with Ronnie Thompson.
Okay.
I used to
That's
play
my man,
basketball.
Ronnie.
I used to watch the games
Ronnie
and
and
everything
John.
over. And Patrick was wide open under that basket. I mean, wide open.
Yeah.
But people don't realize during that era, they see Georgetown as the, either dark blue or the light gray. That year, they had very similar, like almost white color shirts that were similar to Carolina. So Fred Brown, when he went to pass the ball, was just
Yeah, he thought about it right.
He thought it was
Yeah, it's insane.
somebody else. But that was one of the things. But it made Jordan's career. He was clutch. He got the shot. He became nothing but greatness after that.
So let's talk about this. Another point I want to hit. So you're talking early '80s NBA. I mean, it was just two powerhouses. It was the Celtics and the Lakers. It was
Absolutely.
Magic Johnson. It was Larry Bird and them. And
You had
every
Philly
year,
too now. Philly was
Oh,
good.
they were-
Okay,
they-
but
Some different
I know what you're talking
But
about.
those
That-
two
they
teams
were-
won the
they were the
championships.
outliers,
Well, they
right.
had 8 championships in the from the
Yeah, I mean,
80s
it
to
was
the
a
90s.
back and
They had
forth
the
type
players you
situation.
were familiar with and everybody. So.
Yeah, and so
Bird Magic.
that's what it was. And truth be told, I call a spade. I liked Celtics, but there was there seemed to be like an animosity that added a little bit of kind of like racial tension to a point where it felt like, I was supposed to kind of be a Lakers fan because it was like
It's
you
no
went.
different than the Cowboys and
Okay, so we ain't going. Yeah, we ain't talking football. We just gonna leave that alone right now. We're gonna talk about football season.
I
Football
just
season.
gotta watch you. You know what I mean?
Couldn't
But the
stand the
idea
Celtics.
that the Celtics picked Len Bias, then it was like a pause because it was like, okay, well, wait a minute. If the Celtics pick Len Bias, do I now become a Celtics fan,
Absolutely.
or do I stick with the
Absolutely.
Lakers?
Absolutely.
Celtics
You're supposed to be a Celtics fan.
Yeah.
And so for a minute, just for a glimpse of a second, I think for me, and I think a lot of us had a moment to just dream and pause and almost see that like maybe the world isn't as red and blue or as binary as most people think, But then then we lost Len,
That's a
just
good
like
point.
that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Lost hope.
The city
lost
went
hope.
through. The city mourned because it's like all of us had it in that one moment had this hope and belief that things were going to be different, and one of our own was rising up to be a part of these Titans.
And have you noticed that it has not been a situation like that since?
Never.
Hold on, I'm about to tell you. I'm
Not
about
that
to tell you,
big
right?
on that large scale.
Yeah.
I grew up. I'm a sports fanatic.
Yeah.
But
Of course.
I can remember back in the day, used to seeing Red up Chrystal's driving a convertible CE. I'll never forget. He used to have, right out about it. But I never liked Boston. But I used to think like, man, why don't I not like Boston? Because they had all the white dudes who could play.
Yeah.
Kevin McHale, what's the other
Danny
guy?
Ainge.
Chris Ford,
Ainge.
Danny
I used
Ainge,
to love Danny Ainge.
Bird, of
They was
course.
some ballers,
They
yeah.
had ballers. Then they went and got Bill Walton and I was just like, John, whoever that guy. But anyway, long story short, I used to be like, man, we should like Boston. No, I couldn't stand it because I know a lot about Boston.
Yeah.
Logan Airport, Roxbury, all the projects up there. But Right Auerbach gave a black man a head coaching job.
Yeah, he sure did.
So why do we not like Boston? And if he gonna pick somebody who can play, he gonna pick the best players.
Yeah.
Then he went and drafted Lenny.
Lenny.
I think the Boston thing, I don't think it's so much as the Celtics as it is the city itself.
Right.
The city itself. I mean, I remember probably about 10 years ago, Twitter, maybe longer than that, Twitter had just come out, and it was the black guy on the Caps that knocked Boston out of the playoffs. And it was some of the most god-awful racist comments
they're vicious.
I've ever seen.
Oh, they
in my
vicious
life.
in Boston,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
No question.
Irish
I
and
think that-
Italians.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
New Balance come out of there.
I know
New
Italians
Balance
love
come
us.
I think that right there
Massachusetts.
was, I mean, I think it was more a reflection of the city than the
Yeah,
Celtics
for sure,
organization.
for sure.
But to answer your question, the bad boy Pistons don't have their 2-year run if Len's alive. And the Celtics
Yeah.
probably got it
Yeah.
one,
Okay.
two
Yeah.
times.
I can see
that. I can
Lakers
see
might
that.
have got one in there again. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but
It would have
Jordan,
just changed the whole dynamic.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
I
would
think so.
the
And Lenny
Knicks
was
been
tough.
able to come out the way?
Lenny was tough. I'm gonna tell you right here.
Oh, he
Look,
wasn't going
I'm a
for it.
Tar Heel fan. I ain't gonna lie.
And that, man,
Grew up
he
a
had
Tar
that-
Heel fan,
He
right?
had that
They
vertical
put-
too. Remember, he had that vertical.
Oh, man, he was
Listen,
he was a monster.
Yeah.
He took. I remember rooting for when Georgetown played North Carolina. My father and them put me out the house because I was cheering for North Carolina. And John Thompson lived right down the street from me. Ronnie and them grew up around the corner from me.
Colorado Avenue.
Webster.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about Webster Street
Webster.
before they
Okay.
got
Okay.
John. they grew up on Webster Street. I used to serve their papers. That's when I was a youngin'. But I hated John Thompson because he made me pay for his door because I threw a paper and broke his
had
door.
that paper route there?
I had a Washington Post paper route.
What bike was you riding?
Probably a Huffy. No,
Yeah, the
probably
Huffy
a
joint. I'm saying.
Oh, man. I
I
never owned
had
a
that
Huffy.
paper route.
Hey, no, but let me get back to this though, right? So I was rooting for North Carolina, and my father put me out the house. But I remember all Georgetown. That was the team from the area.
No
Georgetown was tough.
Yeah.
But I was always a
Oh,
Tar. I
my
hate to say it. I was a
God.
Tar.
Yeah.
But Lenny killed us.
Yeah,
In
man.
80, one of those years, Lenny dunked on our center and he dunked backwards on him.
86. It was
I was
86.
like,
That was
oh.
the first. That was the first loss ever in the Dean Dome.
Man, he killed us. He stole the inbound and dunked on. Boom.
Yeah, just
And that's
straight
when Keith Gatlin threw the ball.
Yep, Keith
off
Gatlin,
of,
Jeff Baxter, all of them.
Keith Gatlin threw the ball
My
for
guys,
Kenny Smith's
good
back,
man.
and then did the quick layup on that.
Yeah, they popped us. I was hot about that.
We had another Washingtonian that ended up going up to the Celtics, Charles Smith.
Charles Smith, my guy right there. My guy.
that's what I
Love
said.
Charles.
It's
Kurt's
just
older
that-
brother. Love them both. Wonderful guys.
CB and Smitty.
Smitty.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's like I just coming out of DC now it's more better. It's better players. It seems like they're more athletic and more into actually going somewhere with their game, or coming out of Maryland or even Virginia, some parts of Virginia. But at DC, our players. It was, and again, that crack epidemic.
Yeah.
And it was all at the same time, so it
Yeah.
got so many distractions.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? It's like we know some of these guys could have been just
Man,
You know,
special.
Yeah.
Hey
on
man,
that
what
level
you know
in the
about
NBA.
what you know about Black, Linda DeBellet?
Not a thing.
You don't know nothing about Black?
No.
I'm telling y'all now, one of the toughest players to come from this area.
What
I don't
school?
care.
What school?
What?
You gotta know that one
Cardoza.
too. Oh no.
Okay.
Okay.
What year?
Okay.
Probably 80. I want to say 81, 82. Don't
See, that's
Black,
why-
I know you
see,
watch
that,
this
you
show,
know,
but don't get me
Black's
wrong if I'm wrong.
older than-
But
you know,
I
I
just
ain't-
know that was the toughest dude. And Kurt, I ain't gonna lie, Kurt was so.
Yeah,
Kurt
yeah,
was
yeah.
tough, man. Kurt was tough. But Black, smoothest, thoroughest dude, played at UDC. They went. He
was
played.
like
He played up
early
at
80s.
UDC in early '80s, probably up to like '85.
What happened to him, guys?
Man, he played ball, and then he started working the rec center. Sorry to say, he had a heart condition.
Okay.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah,
He's
man.
still fighting back right now, but man, one of the toughest dudes I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got to give it him hands down. I've been on the court with him, played against him.
Yeah.
That dude,
Yeah.
Matt,
We had it.
who
nobody
would you
can
say
stop
is
him.
your who's on your Mount Rushmore as far as sports athletes from DC who did the best job of representing the DC culture?
That's a real tough one because a lot of guys are transplants from DC that actually, from
Yeah.
To get credit, yeah.
I can't really put any of the Georgetown guys there in a sense. And don't get me wrong, I used to be good friends with Zoe. I used to hang out with him. Zoe got that money. None of us, you weren't even, hey, how you doing?
That's messed up, man. That's messed up.
Definitely.
Zoe seemed like you got that
No,
kind of
Zoe.
personality.
But yeah, it is.
Zoe
Anyway.
Tracy. I mean, he's married to Tracy, man.
Yeah,
I'll tell you a funny story about that off camera.
Yeah, there you go.
Sherman Douglas was one.
Sherman.
Okay, Sherman, yeah.
Sherman played in the league years. Gotta
He's
have
probably one of the most underrated point guards of that era in the NBA.
Floor general.
Yeah, he was an
And he was a floor general down in Herbal.
Yes.
I seen him play.
A
down there.
general.
Couldn't nobody stop him. He just did what he wanted.
loved his game, but he thought about the team first. For a lot of them Urbo
Yeah,
guys,
tough, yeah.
they wanted to get their 30 points and then decide to be a team player. Yeah, Sherman was definitely one that was DC to the bone.
That you've seen.
Yeah.
Because we ain't gonna talk
And
about
we talk
older
about all
guys.
sports too, though. So you ain't.
Oh, now you want to talk
Which
about
we
it.
did last time. We
You cut
did.
me off when I tried to bring up football.
Yeah, well,
I
that's
just tried to
because
bring it
you
up.
tried to get it to Cowboys.
Hey, let's get this right though, man. We talking
Redskins, the
DC or
Man,
DMV?
you see this?
Are we talking about strictly DC? Your question was it DC or the DMV? Are we just talking
Well, we
strictly
don't
in
do
the
the
city?
DMV, but with
Straight in the city?
with
Well,
Maryland and Virginia, if you was close enough to the city and you embrace the city, we give you a pass back then.
Okay.
We just gonna keep it DC for right now.
like I
Okay.
said before, people
With
move
including
back
the
and forth.
suburbs.
Oh, you
We'll
want to
say that.
include this up?
I
Okay.
still consider Landover and
Yeah.
PG County
Oh, man,
a
that's
section of Northeast.
What?
I mean, that
Exactly.
basically
Yeah.
is.
War
Oh,
9.
Yeah. Straight up to Landover Mall.
Yeah.
Shout out to Landover Mall back in the day. Everybody
Man,
remember.
come on, man.
No, that was
I
fun
still
back in the
remember
day.
the smell. I still remember the heat.
What?
When you hear the fountains were so loud. You know,
Yeah.
Every Friday.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
We used to go up there, me, Bro, and Jay would just go up there and bullshit. We go shoe shopping
Yes.
and do whatever. And I'd take like $1 bill. We go into the what is it? Was it a Woolworths there?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
get the string and we tie like $1 and we just throw it on the
Yeah,
floor.
so
Yeah,
somebody
try to
get
pick it up,
People
snatch it.
jacking it, just taking it. It was just, I mean, that's the type of fun we had when we were
They used to do that at a spot. I want to say maybe a Connecticut and like Q, and it would be a restaurant out there. And I think it was maybe April Fools, and they'd have a wallet, and the wallet would have like a $20 bill hanging out of it, and they throw it out a little ways, and everybody's sitting around at the restaurant just minding their business, acting like nothing's happening. So people would come and try to grab it, and then when they try to grab it, they
pull
snatch
it.
it back. It was on like fishing string.
Like a fish.
Yeah. And so that everybody crack up laugh and say April Fools. You know?
Oh, wow.
What is it?
Speaking of fish, Matt, since this is a community-based platform here, so I heard you guys talking about the fishing.
Yeah.
And for the younger generation that want to figure it out, they in those stages where they want to have some hobbies that they might like to do, and you can make money at it. I want you to explain to our audience,
It's different levels.
how you can get into something like that.
I've always fished, since I was a little kid, and when that era, got too crazy of just being in DC instead of going out and partying, I'd get up early in the morning and just go fishing. Whether it be, hitting the Patuxent River, hitting lakes just for bass fishing, getting the old rubber worm, doing the, electric blue culprit, Texas rig.
that's my
Caught
guy.
more fish on that one than anything. Then the Cinco was invented.
Yeah.
and
You gotta
all
go
that.
fishing with this guy.
And,
You know what I'm saying?
then I started, it's freshwater fishing is a lot harder than saltwater fishing. Like you guys have said, you going for snakeheads.
Yeah.
You got to really know how to work that top water. You got to really, and they're not dumb fish. They're the type of fish
Oh, yeah.
that, I mean, if they see you, they're not hitting under any circumstance. Another thing I found that, they were released in a pond in Crofton, Maryland, not far from where I lived in Bowie. I literally could go through the woods where it was, and I used to fish that pond. There was nothing really in there, but I'd go by there, catch a bass here, a bass there, but there was nothing big in there. But what people didn't realize, it was a little runoff creek there that went right into the Patuxent River.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like, they're already in the Patuxent River. And I said that right when they found out that they were there. And within the last 15 years, I guess the population has gone up.
Crazy.
And they're
It's a good fish to catch, too.
And they're nasty things. They'll be sitting in the dirtiest, slimiest water, maybe 2-3 inches of water with their backs out. But the dragons are 29, 30 inches long. It's
a good fight with them too. Yeah, they got a good fight to them.
So
They're apex predators. So if you think of like creeks and things like that, they like to sit in the cut and wait for smaller fish,
and go crush it.
frogs, anything that's live, even birds. If it gets at little ducklings, like if they get in and they see an opportunity to eat, they're just like tigers. So, the thing is you got to have that type of mindset when you are fishing for them. Like, you're trying to just bait them in. You're trying to trick them into thinking that you are a wounded fish or a wounded prey, to get them to attack. And like he said, they are, it's a good, good fishing.
So how do you get into those competitions and,
I couldn't do freshwater fishing competitions. That's, even though I'm ADHD. There's no way I could do it. It's just too much. But saltwater, that's a different animal.
Okay.
I'd love to get in. If you wanted to get into the big boy fishing like we were talking about earlier, you're going to need a boat. It's going to run anywhere between 3 up to 15 million, depending on which one you get. And you're gonna
Michael Jordan's in that.
That's
sport.
what. Okay, so now we talking about that fuck
that
money.
fuck
That's that fuck you money Matt was talking about.
It's that big fucking money. Like Jordan's boat, the original boat was 80 or 85 Viking. Vikings are very good boats. They're production boats. They're not custom boats. He had John Bayless from Bayless Boatworks build his new one. Thing is absolutely beautiful, and he's fishing right now in the White Marlin Open right now. But them guys, those budgets that these guys have and the money they spend is ridiculous. There's one guy got a boat called Uno Mas. He's got 4 sport fishing boats. It's Brooks Smith. He owns a patent on something. He gets a cut off almost every point of sale transaction in the world.
Wow.
That's goals. So you're saying that's goals.
He's got 2 big yachts. He has his own Gulfstream 5. Them guys on his boat, there's not a guy on that boat that don't make under $100,000 a year, and they're flying first class everywhere, fishing.
Just for the fishing,
Just fishing. There's another group called Bad Company. It's owned by a big mortgage guy. They got to go for the first time in like 5 or 6 years to Ascension Island in the southern Atlantic. Okay, Ascension Island, that's like virgin territory. Grander marlin are not uncommon there at all. Some of the best fishing, probably the biggest blue marlin in the world are probably off Ascension Island. They turned it into a preserve where you can't fish within like 500 miles around the island. It's halfway between Africa and South America.
Wow.
It's in like the southern part. And it's a lot of money that these guys spend. If you think, like, I'm going to get a boat, you got fuel, you got repairs, you have,
dollars.
To run one of those operations, you're going to have to at least be able to afford $1 million a year just in throwing.
Hey, Matt, tell us what size fish. I heard you talking earlier. Tell us the size marlins. How much do they weigh?
Well, you got a couple different types. You have the white marlin, which is smaller. You have the striped marlin, a little bigger than the white. You have the blue and the black marlin. The black marlin is in the Pacific and Indian Ocean. Rarely they come around into the Atlantic, but there is documentation that they've been around Ascension Island. And hey, the world's wild currents,
Things
you
happen.
don't know what it's going to happen.
Things change.
But the blues, they could say up to 2,000. Nobody's actually ever caught a 2,000 pounder. The world record for a black, I think, is like 1,500 pounds and change.
How
caught
much?
Off of Cabo Blanco.
What'd you say again?
Yeah.
How many pounds?
They say 2,000, but nobody's ever caught a 2,000-pound marlin.
How you going to catch that?
No, them.
You can't pull that in no boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got
I'll show you
pulleys.
I'll show you
They pull them
pictures
off the
when this
water
is
with the
off.
pulleys. You ever seen it with it?
I seen it where they had a shark hanging up.
Right.
They have the door now. The new boats, they have the whole build, the little door at the back of the boat where they can just pull them in. There's video where one guy on one side, the other guy on the other side, and they're just pushing against it, pulling the marlin in, using their, the pec fins, and then gaffing them in. I mean.
So how much is a 2,000-pound marlin worth?
Nobody's ever caught a 2,000-pounder, but they say up to 2,000 pounds. Just like everyone says, "Oh, I saw a 25-foot great white. Great whites maximum maybe about 18 foot. 18 foot. But you got to remember the difference between a 17 8-inch shark and an 18-foot shark. The girth's going to be immense, and so it's going to look a lot bigger.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the. I tell people all the time that the ocean is the real outer space. That's where all the aliens are. Those are aliens down there.
We know more.
Fish,
we know more about space than we do about our ocean.
Oh yeah, they say you can go down so far out of the water. They say certain fish after they come up, after they catch them, they got to put things on them so they can go back to where they came from.
Yeah.
They go crazy because man, the water's. And you talking about going kayaking. Yeah. Man, as long as I got my preserve on, I'm all right.
I'm actually looking for a pedal kayak so I can go like down Mattawoman or out the Blackwater. I do not like having my rods and having the paddle like that. I just want to kick back and cruise.
I got 2 of the pedal kayaks, the ones you put your feet on.
Oh,
and
nice.
Pedal. So me and my son, we go out. And I got a skunk in my boat. I still have yet to catch a fish on my kayak. I watch him do it all the time, though. He pulls them, but.
Try them orange snakehead outlaw. Try the Predator.
Okay.
Or the El Chapo and the Escobar are 2 very favorite ones. That orange color just seems to be fire right now.
Okay.
So Matt, you on another note, back to I know I remember Fray, he didn't like being. It was horse collar is what I used to like to say. So with Fray. How do you think Fray would be now in this climate? And the kind of guy he was, because remember, Fray used to keep the people out of D.C., those out-of-towners. He ain't played the out-of-town stuff. Then he had some homies, Red Jack, people like that. But as far as people coming in, trying to infiltrate the city, Mike wasn't going for that.
I think he'd be an elder statesman right now, for sure. He had the persona that if people met him, they just gravitated towards him. He was just so laid back and cool.
A true ambassador.
A very true ambassador. He just happened to be in a different, field. He would have been great as a Secretary of State.
Peacemaker. Yeah, and he saw a vision, which, in hindsight, a lot of us should have listened. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it might not have been so much loss.
I think the city did change forever.
It did. Yeah. It did. And he's still a mystery because you hear that's what I'm saying. The out of town. That's why I don't like the out of towners to tell our stories because they don't know. You get the same names. And that stuff keeps circulating throughout social media and those platforms. But knowing somebody who had an intimate relationship, a great friendship, comrades, and you could really understand and be able to talk about him in another light, you know what I mean?
I talk to Little Mike and Mo at least once a week. Yeah. Talk to the OG Nelly too.
Of course.
Nelly cracks me up. Shout out to Nelly, you're my guy. And it's a different animal. I mean, Mike is the type of guy that could go anywhere, and even white people that don't know him, like, hey, this guy's a nice guy. Hey, how's it going? He just people just gravitate towards him. He was a product of his environment, but he was an honorable guy. Definitely. He's truly missed by the city, by anybody that knew him. I know Mike and Mo and Miss Linda miss him dearly. That was my guy. Miss Poochie too.
Poochie, man.
Yeah, Poochie was fun one.
Hey, that's Luther Vandross. Yeah. Poochie and his daughter. I'm in contact with Nay. Yeah. That's his daughter. Only one daughter. And she can sing just like him. Right. He passed it right down that voice box. But this dude used to get the girls, man, for singing that Luther. Man, he loved himself some Luther Vandross.
Because we quickly we're kind of running out of time.
Yeah, exactly.
So I already want to get on the books right now. Matt, you gonna come back and
Absolutely.
and because we got a lot more to kind of get into.
Yeah. This is more of just an introduction, I guess.
Yeah,
we can have some
that's
fun.
what
And watch a girl around Matt. I mean, this dude, man, he was you talking about creeping?
Yeah.
This dude was creeping, man.
Yeah.
It's funny sitting there with Matt, but Matt's just a good dude for real. Good man. I can tell, and I want to go fishing with you.
So
I'm gonna hold you to that, Matt.
all right, so we got fishing gun, and we're gonna have you come back. All right?
Absolutely.
We gotta make that happen.
All right. So thank y'all for another show. See ya.
Thank you. Pleasure being here, guys.
All right.